just a reminder, this lesson is for women and children, but if you are married and you have questions after, definitely go over the lesson with your husband and see what his thoughts are. And if he can give you any additional feedback or clarification on any topics you have, you can also drop them below in our chat. And if we can answer, we definitely will. Okay. Let's open up with Titus 2. Let me get to it. So you'll understand the purpose behind our lessons. So Titus 2, and we're going to read 3 through 5. So, you want to read it, Sister Nishia?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay, Con.
Titus chapter 2, verse 3. The aged women, likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things. Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. Verse 5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
Amen. Thank you. So throw out, sis. All right. So we're going to be coming out of the book of Genesis, chapter 39, starting from 7 through 20. The title of the lesson is She Is No Role Model. And as we go through the lesson, I'm just going to recap about this story. We'll bring out a few scriptures so you can get an understanding of who this is that we're talking about when we're saying that this person is no role model for us sisters of Yasharallah. Con?
All
right. So let's start. If you get your swords out and turn to Genesis 39. And we'll start at verse 7. But again, I'm just going to sum it up, but you can follow along that way. And in between, we'll be pulling out some scriptures. So first of all, this story is about our brother Joseph. I do want to bring out Genesis 30, 22 through 24, so you can see who our brother Joseph was.
Said Genesis 30, verse 23.
Yeah, you can start at 23 through 20 and 24.
All right. Genesis 30, verse 23. And I'll start at 22. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, God had taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son.
Con. So this is just to show that Joseph is of the 12 tribes. He is the son of Jacob and Rachel. Con. So when we're back at Genesis 39, just a little background again on Joseph in this story. He was a prosperous man who was in the house of his master, the Egyptian Pharaoh, at the time of this story. So let's get that. Genesis 39 and 2 is where you'll find that.
All right. Genesis 39 and 2. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian.
And we can go ahead and read 3.
And his verse 3, and his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand.
So in addition to that, Joseph was a goodly person. He was well favored. Okay. And so if we drop down to 5, we can see that description of him there.
That's Genesis 39, verse 5. And it came to pass from that time he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all he had in the house and in the field.
All right, and then just to kind of wrap up where we're going to go with this, Joseph ended up in prison. Genesis 39 and 20.
Genesis 39, verse 20 says, and Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. and he was there in prison.
All right. So that's just a little background on Joseph, who came victim of this so-called woman that we're going to get into discussing briefly, who is not supposed to be our role model. So this is what we want to avoid. All right. So just to make a long story short, the wife of Pharaoh, and I have some words here to describe this wife of Pharaoh. She's haughty, sinful, lying. She's manipulative. She's an adulteress and a Jezebel. Okay. And because of her, all of this happened to Joseph.
Right.
Okay. If you're not sure about the background of the story, again, we're just going down Genesis 39, 7 through 20. So what Pharaoh's wife did was she had the nerve to ask Joseph to lay with her when he was alone, just going about his regular work duties inside of the house. Okay. So if you can bring out Proverbs 6 and 26.
All right. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteresses will hunt for the precious life.
So that's what she was doing with our brother Joseph. All right. She had already set in her mind she's going to be this adulteress, and she's on the hunt for Joseph. We know Joseph was precious, of course, favored by the Most High in this house where he was a slave under a master, under the Egyptian, right? A goodly person, well favored, but all because of the Most High. And so we have this adulteress with her eyes locked in on him to try to make him fall. So, but we know our brother, our righteous brother Joseph, he refused, right? He knew that if he was to sleep with another man's wife, that it would be wicked and it would be sinful, okay? So we're going to pull out a few scriptures that will back up the actions that would have occurred if he had slept with her, but he knew better because he knew the law, okay? So the first one we'll bring out is Proverbs 6 and 29.
Proverbs verse 6, chapter 20,
29.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 29, right?
Con.
All right. Proverbs 6, verse 29. So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent.
Con.
That goes back to the basic commandment, which is Exodus 20 and 14, which is thou shalt not commit adultery.
Con. All right, and so the next scripture we can read is out of the Apocrypha Sirach 9 and 9. And again, we're bringing out these three scriptures just to show that had Joseph hearkened to this Jezebel adulteress, he would have been in sin in the eyes of the Most High. And that's something that he knew better than to do. So Sirach 9 and 9.
Sirach, that's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 9. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline to her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction.
So we know destruction, we know woe, we know sin is all death, and it's being led apart from the Most High. Again, this talks about what adultery is: a man sleeping, sitting, talking, entertaining another man's wife. And Joseph was truly against that.
And what does that really, and what does that look like today? Because, like, you know, people might say, oh, it's just a cup of coffee, it's just precepting all those precepting online in my messaging, you know. All these things are, you know, the chances that you can take with a woman that can lead to other things. And that's why we're supposed to have witnesses. But also exactly what you just brought out, sis, is that sit not with another man's wife. Point blank, period. Whether it's for coffee or, you know.
Yeah.
to go over the yeah.
And I know, like you said, even if it's to go over scriptures, because the scriptures tell you, if you have any questions about the scriptures, you should ask your husband at home, not someone
Right.
else's husband, but your own
Right.
husband. Okay.
Right.
If you're not married, then of course, whoever your head is, which could be at your camp, it could be, you know, an older relative in your household, but not someone else's husband. And especially when the sister is not present or aware. Okay.
Right.
One more scripture to show why it would be wicked and sinful if Joseph had complied to this adulteress. Deuteronomy 22 and 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
So this is not anything that Yasharallah should be partaking in at all. And of course, we know that we're not going to stone people at this day and age, but what's worse than stoning is at this point in age, under grace, being cut off from the kingdom. Because, Salakia, a motorcycle outside my window, but being cut off from the kingdom because of the sin that you're partaking in. So you definitely don't want to, again, she is no role model. We don't want to put any of our brothers in this position at all to cause them to sin or fall, okay?
Right. And if before you move forward, because this story that you're telling also is also found very deep and in detail in the testament of Joseph. If anybody have the testament of the 12 patriarchs or just the testament of Joseph, okay, this story is found in there. And like we were talking about, that she is not the role model. So and this woman went to the extreme. Now we as women know, and I say we because we were in the world once, you know, and we did certain things to get what we want, you know, whether it was putting on the makeup, you know, to look flattering and all of this stuff, showing a little skin here and there to entice. We know exactly what we're doing, you know, and some of us still do it, even though we wear head wraps and skirts, because it will even tell you that Pharaoh's wife knew how to come to Joseph. She know he was a goodly man, and in his book, so she know the exact words to ask him. She knew to come to ask him about, hey, okay, so I can't get him this way, so let me try sit down and see if he'll teach me some precepts. I can get him alone. We could go over the Bible. She used to speak so sweet. But then when they're sitting there, and this is what she actually did. You can go and read it. I'm not going to read this whole story to you tonight, but she will do stuff like that. Sit down, we're doing precepts, and in the middle of the Bible study, show some leg, show some boob, stuff like that, you know? So just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah, Khan. So that's out of the testament of Joseph. Where it's going to go into detail about this adulteress, this Jezebel, who's very manipulative and haughty, and how she tried to influence and persuade our brother Yasharallah to commit sin against the Most High. No bueno, no good. For real. All right. So let's see. So Joseph told her no, right? Pharaoh's wife, this unnamed Jezebel, told her no, and she continued to pursue him over and over and over again about sleeping with him, about sleeping with her, right? So this just brought to my mind about our sister, well, now I'm Salakia, oh gosh, not our sister, Delilah, and how she nagged Samson. So let's bring that out in Judges 16 and 6. We know what the scripture says about a nagging woman, right? It's better to dwell on the housetop than to be in the same house with her. You know, and so again, we're talking about this person who is the wife of Pharaoh. We don't want to be like her. She's not a role model. So we don't want to be nagging either. So that's just one of those things that we don't want to do. So again, we're going to bring out Judges 16 and 16 to show you how Delilah which is a woman of another nation, of course, nagged Samson.
All right, Judges 16:6. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and where thou mightest be bound to afflict thee.
Yeah, if we can go to 16. Mhm.
Oh, wait.
No, that's
Judges
fine
16,
too. But yeah, 16. Mhm.
all the way to 16?
No, you can just read 16.
Okay. All right, and verse 16. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him so that his soul was vexed unto death.
So that's how hard pressed this Jezebel was to get Joseph to actually sleep with her and cause him to fall. Okay. Again, don't forget this brother was prosperous. He had one of the highest positions in his master's house, and the Most High had set this up so that he can be in that position. But yet we have the wife of Pharaoh trying to take all of that away from him. Okay. So one day Joseph came into the house doing his regular duties, and here she is. Unfortunately, she caught him alone, and she was grabbing at his garment, demanding him, lay with me, but he wasn't having it. So he did manage to get away from her grip. He ran out of the house, but she did have a grip on that garment. Okay. All praises right now. The garment just came to my spirit about the colorful garment. That's probably a whole nother lesson and probably something deeper, but I'm definitely going to look into it when I have time, now that it came to my mind that way. But she had his garment in her hand when he left out. Again, he refused her and rejected her. So what did she do? She begins to get super dramatic and, again, manipulative, and starts crying out for help, screaming as if she was the victim. And so, of course, two elders heard her. Not two elders, but two of the men, I guess, that were working in the house heard her and came into her quote unquote rescue. Now, this made me think about our sister Susanna and what she had to go through, but on the opposite end with two elders. Okay, so let's bring that out in the book of Susanna 1:24, just so you can see how in the instance she was crying out and falsely, but so did these elders against our sister Susanna for almost the same reason, actually. Almost the same.
Right, that's the flip side. So
Yep.
Susanna, chapter 1, verse what?
24.
24.
24.
All right. With that, Susanna cried out with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her.
And if you haven't read the book of Susanna, it's a really good book. You definitely want to read it. There's a lot of meat in there. But Susanna was just like Joseph, righteous, and she was one of our sisters of Yasharallah. She had no fault in her. Very beautiful sister. Took care of herself. She was married. Okay. But in this case, she refused these men that lusted over her, just like Pharaoh's wife was lusting over Joseph. And because of that, they cried out against her and tried to get her convicted. But of course, Yahweh intervened, the Most High intervened and sent someone on her behalf to speak against them. But that's a great story, and we can have that as a discussion, in the future if necessary. But I suggest reading that story as well. So that was just to show, like Sister Shia said, the flip side of what was going on with Joseph, with Susanna.
Yeah, right? no matter what, she stayed true to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and to knowing that the Most High would avenge her. Not giving in to, to their hands to do so. We've heard it before. Men have said they were. You could say you was stuck in a rock in a hard place or whatever it is. Like I had no way. Or she grabbed hold of me. What could I have done? No, Joseph was like, I ain't having it. It's not happening. No.
He got out of Dodge and he left his coat and everything. He didn't care. He was not going to be set up in that.
Exactly. The thing is, no one would have knew. And that's the thing. There's the can't think of the precept, you might know this, where it says, but let me just make the statement, is that this Pharaoh's wife even said, listen, no one would ever knew this happened. It's getting dark where I'm at. No one would ever know what would happen. The Pharaoh knows you're a godly man, so he knows you would never do that. And no one would ever expect that. So even if you did do it and somebody told him that, he wouldn't believe it anyways. And one would think I could get away with all kinds of stuff with Pharaoh's wife because nobody would ever find out.
Right.
But the Most High sees all things. So whatever you do behind that, what's the precept when you go behind a building in the dark, you creeping at night?
Con. And he can see.
Find out.
He knows it. Whatever you do in
Right.
secret, I know what you're talking about, sis. I'm gonna have to find it, but
We'll post it later on.
yeah.
Um,
Con. So just going more into the story, we're almost at the end of the story. But what happened was Pharaoh's wife started then to accuse Joseph. So these two men came in after she cried for false help or whatever. And so she was accusing Joseph of trying to lay with her. And she's like, look, I have his jacket or his garment here, you know, he left it here or whatever. So let's talk a little bit about, and again, this could be inside the testament of Joseph, but I could see this, right? So what she does is she places herself and sits there with this garment waiting for her husband Pharaoh to arrive, but yet she's so distraught, okay? So she's plotting in her mind already and planning how she's gonna make this big scene about Joseph to her husband when she was the one at fault. So once he arrived, she definitely told him her lie. You know, Joseph came in and tried to lay with me, blase. And it angered Pharaoh to no doubt, right? He's a man, he has a wife who he sees as beautiful and innocent and everything else. And so he became very angry. So let's talk about why that would happen out of Proverbs 6:34 to a man.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 34.
Yeah, he hears that some man is trying to sleep with his wife.
Right. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance.
Right. So he got jealous. And then when he gets jealous, when a man gets jealous and angry, oh, he's seeking revenge. Whatever that looks like, based on however he is, when it comes to his rib, he's seeking revenge, okay?
Right.
So Pharaoh didn't even, now again, Joseph was his right hand man, so to speak. But all that went out the window in Pharaoh's anger, right? And he ended up throwing Joseph in prison. The one that he trusted, and with everything that he had, all because of her, he threw Joseph Slakia in prison because of what his wife said. So I do want to bring out Proverbs 31:3.
Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up at the end of the summary because that's pretty much what it is. He didn't doubt, of course, his wife. You know what I mean? And again, I'm talking, those are other nations, fine. But our brothers Yasharala, our sisters Yasharala need to understand as well, you know, the strength, they're not going, the men, it says, do not give your strength into women because we're their weakness, so to speak. I won't say we are, but in a sense, I mean, we were created for them to be their helpmates, you know, and so they can't suspend all of their strength on us. We saw what happened with Samson, you know, and we see what happened to Pharaoh. And we're just grateful that Joseph was strong enough not to fall for that type of woman. He didn't give her strength. He didn't give in to her at all. Okay.
Exactly. That's what in the Apocrypha it says, a woman with the batten of her eyes and the sweet talk and her fluttering lips will bring down the strongest, the mightiest of men. So that should tell you something, that women we can be very crafty when we're trying to get, like, that's why they in the CIA. That's why we in the CIA, because we got methods, tips, tricks up our sleeves, skirts, head wraps. everything else will make it look exactly how it needs to look to deceive you. Once the devil is in that body, he will take over however he feels. And Joseph told his sons on his deathbed these things, and to watch for it. And that's when he told them that whole story. Um, um, he was alone, and God comforted him. He was in prison. God showed him favor. He was slandered, and he pleaded, and the Most High pleaded his cause. That slandering was when Pharaoh's wife was like, oh, he slept with me. Not just that, because he wouldn't have believed it, but now she had some type of evidence so she could make the story sound sweet. And that's exactly why we don't put ourselves in situations like that, because even if it's messaging back and forth with someone, because now you have messages that you could use as evidence for something. You gone over there, you have tea or coffee, now you got the evidence that you don't put yourself in predicaments. And that's exactly what he refrained from, was putting himself in any type of predicament. Let me go out. I'm hearing my tone.
Yeah, our praises. So I'm gonna just I'll read a couple of scriptures and then we'll just kind of wrap up the point of all this. So she is no role model. So what we're seeing here is we don't, the Most High created us to be set apart people, first of all. Okay, and we don't want to model after our oppressors at all. Okay, so the women that we're talking about, Pharaoh's wife, and she's another nation. We definitely don't want to mirror after Delilah. She was of another nation, and these women were not what us Israelite women should be, okay, at all. So Proverbs 11:22 says, as a jewel of a gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman, which is without discretion, okay? And then 2 Ezra 6:56 says, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them until a drop that falleth from a vessel. Okay. So again, just think about all of the aspects that Pharaoh's wife had, being haughty, sinful, lying, manipulative, and adulterous. That in a Jezebel is another example of someone from another nation that was out, the way that they behaved was not beneficial to Israel, and it's definitely hurtful to our men. It's something we as Yasharala women, sisters, should not be, okay? Did you have anything else? So that's what I wanted to share with. She is no role model, some attributes for you to actually look at, examine yourself, sis, and then make sure that you don't meet any of those examples, okay? Read Susanna. She was a good example of what we should model ourselves after. And then Joseph.
And like I said, you can find that whole story in depth in the 12 Patriarchs. It's the testimony of the 12 Patriarchs, specifically the story of Joseph. It goes into great detail on what this Jezebel does, the tips and tricks that she is. So if we have any of those ways, that's exactly what we should not be. Like you said, we have many role models in Israel. Susanna is one of them. Stand your ground to the end. And it's one of the things I really wanted to bring out is that our sisters, we should not be, my husband tells me this all the time, we should not be trying to go places by ourselves, because you could get caught up in some stuff, okay? So your brother, your head, always take one of our men for protection, even if you don't think that you need it, always have that. We need to because where there's no protection, the possession is soil, right?
Yep, Con. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for our lesson. Again, any questions, and you're married, ask your husband, have him review the lesson with you. It'd be a nice little study. You can also drop the comments in the questions in our comments, and if we can, we'll respond to those for you as well. So all praises. And just to exit out, we just pray, Most High keeps you, and that the lesson was edifying, and that you learned something from it. And we just thank you for joining us. So,
The water says,
our praises. Have a
our
good night.
praises. Shalom, sissies.
Shalom.
You know you did.